Dêath, my MVVs, welcome. Wonders, they say, shall never end. No. Olóòṣà Aṣọ Ọba, also struck by Ogüñyãya, Ooni of Ifes palace scatter. Like palace don't scatter. Palace don't scatter, like nobody understand what is going on again. Now, who is this Olóòṣà Aṣọ Ọba? Well, they say Olóòṣà Aṣọ in the sacred tradition of Yoruba land, and particularly within the royal household of the Ooni of Ife. He's not just any man. He is the revered custodian of royal clothing, a man of deep trust, discipline, and spiritual awareness. His role is as secret as the throne itself, because the cloth worn by the Ooni is not just material. It is a vessel of royal power, divine authority, and ancestral connection. Only a man who has been trusted, tested, who has passed rigorous traditional initiation, and who understands the language of fabrics and symbol can ever become an Olóòṣà Aṣọ Ọba. Hey! I didn't know all of this, so my sisters and my brothers, Dêath. Me, I didn't know. You know one thing we need to know about Ooni of Ife? You see that man, he is an institution. Hey! If you want to begin to study him, it's so much to learn. He is an institution. They say this man is not a tailor. He is not a fashion designer. He is a spiritual caretaker. Every agbada, every crown, every coral bead laced into the royal garment, it all passes through his hand. He is the one that selects the clothing for every public appearance, every sacred festival, every spiritual rite, based on the mood of the gods, the calendar of the land, and the inner state of the Ooni of Ife himself. If the king is going into a sacred ceremony, it is the Olóòṣà Aṣọ Ọba who knows whether to bring out the anointed white aso or to line it with another white. Sometimes you see he wears like 3 different kinds of whites. You will see him wear a brilliant white. You sometimes see him wear something that looks like a milkish white. You sometimes see him wear a sober white. He wears all these kinds of white. They say they have different representation. I did not know. Hey! Dêath, I didn't know. They say if there is conflict in the land, he may be instructed by the spiritual head to bring out garments of battle or cleansing. But as we all know with Kabiyesi, they are all white, but we do not know. There are some white that represent battle. There are some white that represent cleansing. There are some white that represent, in fact, all of these different shades of white, but they are all white. And they all come from Olóòṣà Aṣọ Ọba. There's usually only one Olóòṣà Aṣọ at a time, but he has 2 or 3 junior apprentices who are still in training. But the main Olóòṣà Aṣọ, the one we that takes care of these things, he can't do them all alone. Okay, they have laundrymen and all of that. But when you see Kabiyesi coming out, you will think that is one white one. He's got a full, almost like one duplex up as in down clothing that they provide for him. The man has apprentices, like, there are like 4 of them. One of them don't go shit for church. Hey, wahala. Wahala for money. They say the chief, in fact, they said one of them has done something. The present Olóòṣà Aṣọ has served the palace for nearly 2 decades right now. They say his name is Olatunde Adegoke. A quiet-aged man loved by many in the palace. He was never seen in the middle of gossip or noise. His quarters is always tucked deep within the palace, like close to the sacred garment chamber. He had no, like they said, the main Olóòṣà does not have a wife living inside the palace with him, all his children. They are all outside. He lives inside the palace. His duty is to serve Kábíyèsí. And the other people who are living inside the palace are his apprentices, and they are all boys. Men, they don't use women. Why do they not use women? If you're seeing your monthly, stuff as a woman, you're not supposed to touch his clothes. You're not supposed to do laundry. You're not supposed to do anything with Kábíyèsí's clothes. What he will wear, he is a living deity. You're not supposed to do anything with it. And so they don't take women. They say the past weeks, fear had been hanging like a thick cloud over the Ooni of Ifes palace. The gods have been angry. Something sacred had been tampered with. And then they say they woke up this whole thing again. Oh. They said this boy of Olóòṣà Aṣọ that was struck by, it happened like broad daylight. They say they found him by inside the garment chamber at the back. His body twisted, eyes wide open in terror, as though he had seen something no human should have seen. They said the palace was silent. The high chiefs were called. The main Olóòṣà was called. Everyone has been informed. But the question is, what went wrong? They do know that it is the notorious Ogüñyãya again struck. But what is the reason? What happened? Why? Why would Ogüñyãya, the spiritual enforcer of sacred, as in, why would this guy be going up and down and doing this and also attack Olóòṣà Aṣọ, his boy? Now, they have summoned diviners to come and find out. They are saying it looks like he was the one who carried that bead. You know, the bead that caused problem, the bead that caused the cry of that woman. They say it looks like he was the one who sold that bead. He was the one who carried that bead. You do know that there was a confession where Ebony had said something about 2 million naira. So it's looking like he was the one who carried that bead. But the problem now is who approached him secretly, to carry the bead. How? What happened? Why did he agree? They are asking his Oga, Olatunde. Olatunde does not have an answer. That is the main Olóòṣà Aṣọ who has those apprentices. He doesn't have an answer, but they say they have invited diviners. As at this evening, they say stories, as in they have been able to find out what happened to this Olóòṣà Aṣọ, that boy. What happened? But it is not far, and it can never be far from the fact that he was the one who carried that bead, and that is what they are able to make out of it. But by tomorrow, I will hopefully get the correct gist, and I'll give you a lowdown of what actually happened. Going to bring you more update. Do not forget that these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.